Lockjaw.
Got it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retro Cult. And occasionally I call it Retro Cast for anybody that's going back and looking at or listening to old episodes. I just realized today that on numerous occasions I have called it Retro Cast. I never even thought of that name. Probably would have been a better name. Um, I'm not alone tonight. I'm with three very special guests. My favorite guests that I've one of my favorite shows to get to go on. Definitely one of the favorite guests I've had on the very short run of this show. But there's a special guest included tonight that I didn't get to grab last time. But I've got the Spooky family here with me tonight. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I hate you, Beagle.
It's all. It's all. My
Solid.
name is, of course, as you can see. This is Beagle. It's Beagle. That's me.
And then, of course, Birdie and Elliot.
Hi.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, it's going to be fun tonight. Beagle's going to be here. Guys, tonight, by the time everybody hears this, it'll be Halloween. And last time we spoke about horror movies and movies that basically put us in mind of Halloween. And tonight I want to actually talk about Halloween, the movie series, not the commercial holiday. To me, as a kid growing up, I think it may be because it's called Halloween. I always thought of Halloween. And, it was basically the Christmas story of Halloween. It got played nonstop over and over, and they'd go through the various movies and stuff. And I'd kind of like to talk about what your guys' favorite movies are from the series, what you liked about each movie, disliked about each movie. If you know any tidbits of knowledge or information, because anybody that listens to either one of my podcasts knows I don't prepare really well, and I don't generally think things out. And most of my research is in West Virginia, where I was working at, and did it all week this week, and wrote down all these cool facts I was going to get to share with you guys. And I left it there.
Happens.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Happens.
Are you sure you're not one of our riders?
No, the quality of my podcast has not quite got to the level of your guys yet.
Because Beagle's our only rider. I didn't know.
Yeah. And I just freestyle. I also leave my stuff in West Virginia.
Changed it to Halloween, man.
He travels to West Virginia just to leave it there.
I talked to the scuttler, and
we're already okay. That's fine.
And he helps me out.
You guys are down. First of all, by the time people hear this on Halloween, if you're not a fan of the Spooky family, you will be, because if you listen to Retro Cult on Halloween, you're going to get the Spooky family. And if you listen to Here Chew Bubblegum on Halloween, you're going to get the Spooky family. And if you listen to the Spooky family podcast, which is where I'd recommend you start, you're going to get the Spooky family. And you're also going to get the conclusion to probably the world's greatest invitational tournament of death to ever be held.
Yeah.
We blew it, Justin. We only talked about the ending for about 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, look, there was so much build up and stuff to it. I mean, it didn't need a lot. Like, it was an exciting event to begin with. So what you guys did is
Shouldn't have put it on me. You shouldn't have put it on me like you did. I didn't know what to do.
We quadrupled.
You threw it to me, and I was just like, bleh. So.
So you guys took some of the biggest characters from horror films, literature, folklore, serial killers. You drew from a vast pool, and you had all these amazing competitors, and you had Clubber Lang, and
exactly.
you let them fight to the death. in a tournament of supremacy to see who, I guess, the greatest evil on earth is. And I think you guys beat the literal definition of the greatest evil on earth out pretty quick. But to me, the ending, I mean, I mean, he should have been an automatic evil. I don't know, I know you had to fight for him the whole time. I just don't get Elliot's hold up on that. I mean, it seemed obvious to me that Clubber Lang was just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, I explained it. I don't know what else I got to do.
I mean, he pulled off some upsets that even and look, you can't wear a ring in the ring was the greatest thing. I was like, he's right. He's right. He's obviously right.
Obviously he's a mad genius, and that's why we keep him around. But my goodness, it was just...
So is voting still open for the final?
No, voting is closed as of 4 minutes ago.
Oh well, you didn't vote too bad. You should have got on the
I didn't know.
But and everybody will find out tomorrow on our Halloween special, which I'm going to be editing as soon as we're done here. I'm putting the last little bit on it. We're going to meet and we're going to discuss who wins, and we're going to put it on the special, and it'll come out. The special should air tonight at 1 a.m.
And that's like a big deal special too, because like you've got the special event you guys went on. I guess you were already talking about it. I heard you mention it on the last podcast.
Yeah, we can talk about it. No problem.
The ghost hunt. So you've got the reveal of what happened there, the one I had to bail on. And then you're also going to have the ending to the tournament. So that's, I mean, you're the spooky family. This is your time of year. I mean, it's going to be, so if you've never listened to the Spooky Family, first of all, I'd catch up on the tournament. I think the tournament was one of the best things I'd heard. If you need a playlist for your Halloween party, you guys put your playlist up on Spotify from your Halloween music episode. And then once you've done all that, catch the actual Halloween special.
Yeah. And we're actually on the Halloween special tomorrow. We're releasing volume 2 of our Ultimate Halloween playlist. We didn't talk about it. We're just putting it out there. So it's out there in the world.
Yeah.
Just on Spotify, right?
Just on Spotify.
Free stuff. Take it. Leave it. Do what you want with it.
So you guys are killing it. And I mean, like I said, though.
I'm sorry. Tomorrow's not Halloween.
No,
it'll be day after tomorrow.
I didn't know. I thought you'd change the date on me or something.
We have children, and they're going trick or treating tomorrow. So I just equated that with Halloween. Sorry.
Much like yourselves, I'm a time traveler, so they're not going to hear this until after the episode's released.
Yeah.
So it means nothing. Oh, y'all like
they're not going to know.
My Golden Girls pajamas? Mm-hmm. All right. So Halloween, series by John Carpenter, little guy. People may have never heard of. He directed a couple movies here and there. Barring Halloween, what's your favorite John Carpenter movie?
Ghosts of Mars.
The Thing.
Man. Probably The Thing.
I'm the oddball here. I'm going to say They Live.
No.
Really? Well,
it's brought too much. It's brought too much goose into my life. I can't.
Barring Goose, but that's the first time I ever met Goose and Cronkite. I went to the old location, which I thought was a trap. I'm not going to say what the facility was, but I instantly thought, have I done something? And is this,
come on in and have a seat.
Yeah, it's fishy at best. So I was, but I pull in and stuff, and right on the back of my truck is a sticker that says Obey. And I've always been a huge They Live fan. It's just, I don't know. I got into it mainly for Roddy Piper. And then, I don't know, like for as corny as kind of that movie is in a lot of sense, like it really has a message to me that I think is pretty fitting for the world we live in. Like I really do, like maybe not on the level of Alien Dictators, but I think we do miss out on a lot of things just because we're programmed to see it. That's not on the map. Don't worry.
No, yeah, it's definitely not, and we're not running any kind of cult except a retro cult here. But
I always wanted to be a cult leader. I don't know.
Nice name drop.
I'm not
you get more
charismatic
money
enough.
if you get more money if you're a cult leader, but you have more fun if you're a cult follower.
Yeah.
That's what I always heard.
Yeah, but the leader don't have to drink the Kool-Aid.
That's true. Trust me, they don't have Kool-Aid. They made sure I knew that. But the one thing that I think we were talking to Goose, so we were on their anniversary episode. Well, it'll be the episode that drops
On the day that you guys are
Halloween.
everywhere.
Yes. We wanted to take him a gift because it's their 1 year, their 1 year anniversary, and I wanted to buy him the new Roddy Piper action figure that WWE is putting out with the They Live outfit. He's wearing the clothes from They Live, but of course, no place around here has that. So we went with a cake instead. I think shout out to Sweet Dough Bakery in Ashton Johnson.
Oh, that was a good looking cake.
Oh, it was well. Listen, I don't know how that one tasted, but the one she made for the Spooky family was amazing. It was excellent. But yeah, They Live is awesome. I think it's one of those touchstone movies that it influenced a whole generation of podcasters, or I'm sorry, conspiracy theorists. And but how can you not love a John Carpenter movie set in space with Ice Cube fighting indigenous ghosts on the planet Mars? I mean, that has everything I love in it. It's got West Coast gangster rap, ghosts, the planet Mars, and John Carpenter. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's hard to beat.
It's perfect. It's a perfect movie.
You guys hear that feedback?
I'm not getting any.
I am.
Hello.
Massively on my end.
Thanks, Phil. Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably me.
Oh, no, it's not. It could be something I've done. Like I said, this is a new setup. I don't know that I didn't hook my board up. The thing about John Carpenter movies, and I think when I say this about any type of movie, a lot of people automatically think I'm knocking it, and I'm not. They Live has a B movie feel. Most of his movies have a B movie feel. I prefer B movies. I mean, Hell Comes to Frogtown, another great Roddy Piper movie. Like, I like B movies. I like movies that are either really good when they shouldn't be, or really bad and not on purpose. Sometimes I prefer those, but I don't think he really gets to the really bad, not on purpose end. I think he just gets to better than it should be for the budget. And Halloween is one of those movies. And in regards to the Halloween series, I guess the obvious place to start is Halloween 1. I'm a VHS collector. I don't collect massively or seriously like a lot of people do. I don't have any of those really expensive Disney videos that sell for $1,000 on eBay, but are really only worth $1. But I picked this up not too long back. It's the Blockbuster version of the original Halloween. And there's a feel to watching things on VHS to me. It's the visual and the audio, both are low quality. Like most of the stuff I produce. And so I guess I'm attracted to that. And I like that feeling. So I went back and watched the movie, knowing that we were going to do this podcast. And I watched one again, watched it on VHS. What initially, like when you think Halloween 1, the original, what's the one part of it that, is it the mask? Is it the music? What really syncs up with that movie for you in your head when you think about it?
Mine, it comes immediately to me. It's him standing in the sheets there watching her at like the middle of the day, and then she's like, "What? Like, did I see that?" And looks back, and then he's gone. Like that right there. It always every time I think of that movie, that right there just pop That's it.
That's an instance of something like you said. It's in daylight and it's still scary, and like that's something you don't see that often. I mean, that's kind of the obvious thing with horror. It kind of everything's a little scarier at night, but that is an interesting shot, and that is kind of an interesting part of the story that this guy can still be scary in the light. Gertie, what I'm going to say is it tubular bells?
I like it because it's like the originator of the final girl trope to me, and that we care for her. Jamie Lee Curtis character.
I care for Jamie Lee
she's
Curtis.
Like a real, yeah, she's a real girl. She's not done anything to anybody. Just trying to work as a babysitter, mind her own business. Afraid of the sheriff, that he smelled the pot. That whole conversation
I
in the
thought
car.
my first trip to the original place that they were doing their podcast was a trap, and I have felt the same way she felt in the past 20 years ago, 30. So I know the fear she felt. Elliot, what is it that kind of?
I personally, I think it is just it's everything. It's the fact that you don't have those graphic kill scenes. It leaves a lot to the imagination. And it makes you wonder, looking outside your house, it can't be more perfect that it's on Halloween and the guy's wearing a mask and he fits in wonderful. So, like, if you're a trick or treater, if you're a teenager or a young kid and you've watched this movie and it's time to go trick or treating or go out with your buddies on Halloween night, anybody that you pass that's in a mask could be Michael Myers. You know what I mean? Could have that same stuff there. To me, it's just a perfect movie for scary stuff. I mean, he's not he becomes supernatural later on. He's not supernatural in this movie. He's just a regular psychotic. I know that's weird to say, but he's just a regular psychotic guy.
21.
Well, yeah, he was 6 when he killed his sister, and it's 15 years later. So yeah, 21. He's like 21 years old.
I appreciate the tenacity of starting that early in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, you wait to get out of college to really get into what you want to do. You may have a part-time job here and there. You may work at Burger King or something instead of following your passion. At 6, this guy was, he was really putting forth an effort. You got to appreciate
that. And the fact that, it's one of those movies where he could have been anybody. He could have been just, he could be your neighbor. He could be.
And it was before too, I guess.
Guy up the street.
Archetypal, like huge dude playing Michael Myers. It was just, hey, you got a stunt coordinator that's cheap. Guys like 5'10".
Well, that's true. Like he's not a massive guy, and
no.
Elliot really hit it dead on the head for what does it for me. Like from sitting down and watching that again, I'm not a big gore guy. Like you're never gonna get me through a whole Saw movie. I just don't. I'm not a human centipede guy. That doesn't do it for me. But that was the thing. Like I remember being spooked out by that movie when I saw it really young, and I go back and watch it now, and there's not gore at all. Like it's everything's insinuated. Like it reminds me a lot of like Psycho or something. Everything's kind of just implied, and to me that's scarier. Like that has more effect on me, I think, because I don't know, for me anyway, it's almost like, okay, I didn't see it happen, but I know it happened, and it kind of, my imagination goes a place maybe that other people's don't. Like everybody's going to kind of interpret it different. That was the big takeaway for me. After I sat and watched it, I was like, okay, it's not bloody, it's not gore, because I remember it differently. Like I just rewatched where it's Halloween, just sitting there and watching these movies. I just rewatched the first Friday the 13th. Vastly different. I watched the first Krueger, and the first Nightmare is kind of like the in between, kind of like the hybrid between those two. It's a little bloody, it's not as bloody, But to me, Halloween 1 was able to, spook me just as much as those two movies, but do it without over the top, just blood, gore. And I think that makes him a little scarier. And I'm like you, like, obviously there's a lot of these movies and they flip flop on the is he human, is he not, and with the new movie, the director just come out and said he is most definitely not supernatural. But he got shot in the head, stabbed 14 times, and beat to death at the end of the movie and came back. But like at the end of that first one, he felt real, he felt human, and I don't know, like he is scarier to me than say Krueger. Like Kruger's funny, he's talkative, and like it's in your dreams. You feel like there's a possibility you'd have control there. But with Michael Myers, it's his focus. It's like, dude's laser focus. And, it's not apparent that he is just massacring these people. You see the aftermath, but you don't see all of the act. And that was the thing for me that really did it for me with me.
There are parts of that movie that to me, like Beagle said, when he's there in the sheets and they're blowing, and then she looks back and he's gone. Or there are times when you can see him in the background, but then that's it. He's gone again.
The
That to me
closet shot.
Yes, when his face emerges, that white face out of the darkness. That stuff to me is creepier than anything. Like probably the only other thing that creeped me out as much when I was a kid was the movie Pumpkinhead. And I have a weird thing with the movie Pumpkinhead. Gertie makes fun of me all the time. Like Pumpkinhead is just to me like scariest movie ever made. I could watch The Exorcist all day long, but Pumpkinhead gets me.
You've mentioned that a couple times. Like that's one I need to
I
see. I've never seen that movie.
It's not that great. I'm gonna be honest with you. I guess it just caught me at the right time of my life when it was, I was just like, Pumpkinhead, scary. But yeah, that's exactly the sound I made too as a 6-year-old. But Carpenter, and by the way, I lied about Ghost of Mars. Ghost of Mars is not my favorite John Carpenter movie besides Halloween. It's obviously Big Trouble in Little China. But the thing that gets me about this movie is there are so many and we don't sit down and talk about it because we all love the movie so much. But there's so much stuff that's just unexplained. Like, okay, he went to the asylum when he was 6 years old. He breaks out when he's 21, but he drives around. He's driving around like
And
who
drives
taught him
fairly
the way?
well.
Yeah, like when Zombie remade it, he tried to explain that. There were guards that liked him and gave him, like did Danny Trejo's character. You remember? Like, Michael, I've always been your friend. I've always been your buddy. I brought you snacks or whatever. And like, he tried to explain it, but nobody. And my favorite part is Loomis just goes, "Who taught him how to drive?" And then that's it. They drop it, and we never talk about it again. And it's hilarious. I don't know. I just, but I still love the movie. You know what I mean? Like, Jeepers Creepers took me out of it. When I saw that the monster had a vanity license plate, I was done. But there's just something about Halloween. I mean, he's driving around perfectly. He could
We
be,
know that you can't handle the license plate.
No, it's horrible. And
we know
like,
this.
I will never forgive Hollywood for that. That was just horrible. And I think
Justin, I think what you were talking about it not being as gory, I think that kind of lends itself to its low budget. Oh, they just didn't have the resources,
See, when I remembered it, like you said, I remembered it differently. I remembered it incredibly bloody.
I did too.
But when I go back and look, compared to nowadays, especially like Halloween Kills, it's not even. I mean, it's very tame. That aspect is, but it's like you said, Justin. Everyone, a lot of it is it's like, oh, well, you make up your like, oh, well, he just done that to those people. We see the aftermath. Everyone's mind fills in the gaps the way that it is the most terrifying to them. You've given them this boogeyman, He does all these things. What makes Gertie scared is going to be different from what I believe is going to make me, what makes me scared. So every one of those scenes, we come to a different conclusion, or we come to a different how it happened, and it's to ourselves is scary. So it's masterful, like to put it in the audience, the viewers' perspective to what they're afraid of.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I went back and rewatched it, I thought, it's a fairly bloody movie, and like the over the top gore is what really gets me. I don't mind a little bit of blood, but when I did watch it, and I watched it last year. It's one of those ones that I watch basically every year. And I always come to it with this notion, not that it's over the top gory, but that it's a little bit bloodier than it actually is. Like when he comes out of the closet, when the light shines out and he comes out and he slashes Jamie Lee Curtis's arm, like I don't even know if there was any blood. I mean, I just watched it, but I had
That's what I was
remembered
going
that
to
as
talk
being
about.
a pretty.
I think there's a line, just one line,
Just like a red line drawn or something.
across her upper arm. And then I think I'm trying to think of the other kills because I know the sheriff's daughter in the car, the choke from behind, there's no blood.
The boy
when
who
he
goes down to
found her in
get
the car
beer,
he
and
garrots her.
he then I
When
can't
he
remember what he does
stabs the
with
guy
him. He cuts him in
into the-
half. Does he cut him in half and put him
He-
somewhere?
No,
He
he
stabs him
picks
into
him
the
up
door.
and stabs him into the door, but
I
it's
think
dark
there
in the
might be
kitchen.
blood trickling down his foot,
Yeah.
maybe. Because his feet are there, and then when he dies, his feet go boom, down. I'm trying to remember. I know Jamie Lee Curtis's arm is cut. Michael gets stabbed with the crochet hook situation. But I can't remember if there's actually any blood that comes out of his eye or wherever he gets stabbed at, or in the neck.
Oh, he just grabs his mask and like stumbles back. Even when Loomis shoots him, I don't think there's blood.
There's no blood.
Yeah. I believe the most like the
goriest
thing that happens is the cheerleader, right? The cheerleader in the bed.
Souls.
Yeah, that's the goriest thing.
Probably, yeah, because they show her and it's got the tombstone, the sister's
tombstone, and she's got like this. Yeah,
I think that's probably the most blood.
That's the goriest one.
Yeah, I think so.
The part I seen today, or that really just kind of made me chuckle, is when he walks into the room with the sheet and the glasses on. Like that's kind of out of place for that. But when you think about it, like this dude's locked up at 6. He's still a kid in most regards. Like it's almost his joke. I don't know. I'd seen that 100 times, but for some reason today it made me laugh. I was like, it just was kind of an unexpected part. I watched, and this is how bad my memory is. I watched, if you've not seen the new Netflix special, the movies that made us, the newest season, they do the first of Nightmare, the first Friday 13th, and the first Halloween. And I believe when I was watching that, they said that Carpenter purposely kind of steered away from a lot of blood and stuff like that. And I didn't, if I did know, I forgot, but I don't remember ever knowing that Jamie Lee Curtis's mom was the lady from Psycho. And, I really do see parallels between those two movies. And I wonder, and he may have said that again, go watch the series. It's a great series. I just don't have a memory. He may have mentioned that, but like, there's kind of just a little bit more aggressive version of that type of scare, and I think it works. I think that's what makes that movie really good. In contrast to say Friday the 13th Part 1, like I rewatched it just because it was Halloween. It's not one that I've rewatched in a long time.
I like parts of it.
I think it's funny. Like it's bad for like if Attack of the Killer Tomatoes came on USA up all night when I was younger, I was watching it every time it came on. Not because it was going to win an Oscar, but because it was fun for me. Friday the 13th, to me, like Jason Takes Manhattan, gets in that realm of fun. But the first one, I don't know. It's almost, and that guy I think set out to make a bad movie, but it almost falls in that they didn't try to make a really bad movie, but it kind of come out really bad, and it didn't go to the extent of something like The Room or something like that. That just went over the top funny on accident. Like it just, I don't know, falls a little flat for me. But Halloween to be that, and the guy said we ripped off Halloween, and I think especially for that slasher style, even though the sleepaway camps and all these things are different, that first Halloween, really being the first in that genre, obviously, but horror movies weren't big at that time when it came out. And to me, Last House on the Left and Hills Have Eyes, I think both came before Halloween, I believe, or right after. But it's a different style to me. Like it doesn't have the
I think it
same
was like
feel.
72, 74.
Okay, so
like
it was that much. I thought it was
think so.
before, but it's unique in what it does, and it obviously, gave a lot of inspiration to what came after. And what came after it, obviously, was Halloween Part 2. And Halloween Part 2, to me, is a pretty good sequel. Like, you don't get that always, especially in horror, in any genre of movie. You don't always get that. But Halloween 2, I mean, it's kind of Halloween 1. It's pretty simple. Does anything stick out particularly to you about Halloween 2?
I mean, the sister reveal that is, that's exactly where that comes from. Uh, uh, this is where the timeline splits. You've got 3 different timelines that happen after this movie. The fact that you find out that Laurie Strode was baby sister to Michael Myers, that to me blew my mind when I first watched Halloween 2. Like, was anyone expecting that? I don't think so.
I don't know. Like that was, they obviously went back away from that later. I don't know that it. They act like it kind of hurt the series, but I don't think it did. I think it was just a matter of, you're just a couple years from Trading Spaces, Jamie Lee Curtis. You're not getting her for part 3 or 4, and obviously, I don't think John Carpenter had any interest in doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was kind of done with it when he done it, and I thought personally it added to the story. Like I thought that was interesting, but
It
and
finally
honestly,
gave him a reason to come back. I mean, like, that makes sense. You come back to finish the job, but like, just to come back home on Halloween, that to me, that's a weak storyline. I just want to head back to my old house, where obviously people are going to try to kill me, but whatever.
well, I with 2, to me, it's a good sequel, it's a good follow up, and in my opinion, a good conclusion to the series. I kind of, that's one movie series to me that we'll talk about it later. To me, after 2 kind of picks back up. Actually, you can take 2 out and go 1, and then the last 2, but the most recent 2. But I thought Halloween 2 was a good movie. I just don't think it's anything spectacular. I watched it maybe a week ago, and that's the first time I had seen it in probably 2 or 3 years. And like I said, it's a good sequel, and I thought it was pretty true to the original. But for me, there was, the reveal obviously was a big deal, but there wasn't anything that really stuck out. Not been that long. I don't remember any kills from it hardly.
The only one
I
I
can't
remember
remember any either.
is it the hot tub? The hot tub scene. Well, I don't really know if it's a hot tub, but it's one of those therapy tubs, and he basically boils somebody alive. That type of deal.
Well, obviously, that's one of the issues with this type of series of movies. Like, you'll have hits, you'll have misses. Like I said, I think 2 was a strong follow up to 1. But then there's Halloween 3. And
Before we move on to 3, because 3 is, I don't even want to talk. I will say for 2, for me, it's all about the setting. Loved the hospital setting. for me, that deeply unnerves people. There's a hidden, there's a lot of fears people have for hospitals.
It's like being
And to know
attacked
that,
in a church. You're supposed to be
yeah,
safe.
it's supposed to be safe. That's supposed to be a place where you heal, you get better, not where you go to die. Which it does happen, but I'm just saying that it's just not something,
They
the
just showed up
boogeyman's
for their
there.
shifts and clocked in, and then
Yeah.
get drowned.
They
like
must not
boiled
have
to
had
death.
that meeting there at 7,
What
and to
does
let
Michael
everybody know
Myers
that
have
Michael
against
Myers was in there.
frontline workers?
I don't know.
What does he have against frontline? I mean, it was nurses, here, police officers in the first movie, firefighters in the new movie. Like, what's
Yeah.
his deal? Like, I
I
don't
mean,
understand.
that's the risk of being a first responder. Like, I'm a volunteer firefighter, but I let everybody else get there first. Self-preservation.
Yeah. Gertie was a volunteer firefighter, too. And how many fires did you go to, Gertie? One?
Like maybe 3. I'm sorry, I got pregnant with your son and couldn't put turnout gear on.
That's what
good
happened.
one.
I forgot.
Good one.
My bad. That was a little bit heavy for me to carry around while pregnant. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't go to any fires.
that
And
training
got
was
it really, to do it while with child. I'm a volunteer. I volunteer to get out of the way.
But
That's pretty much what I do.
Halloween 2, I think, is a miss overall. The only thing it really adds is the sister, and already they've dropped it. These new movies say Halloween 2 never happened, which, whatever.
Well,
that's nice, Beagle. That's a good one.
to me, like,
Nerd.
I didn't need to, and that's the problem with a lot of these franchises. Like, but it's going to come down to personal preference, because I know there's going to be people that disagree with me. Like, I enjoyed most of the Freddies, so they brought something new a lot of times. Some of them are just redundant, but obviously Dream Warriors was, to me, a massive improvement over 1. I like New Nightmare. Like, there's, and I think we done the last podcast. I said I didn't like New Nightmare right after I said I did, and I don't know why, because I got it confused with another one. I don't know why I did it. So that's one of my numerous mistakes I'm gonna call out. Heard you guys do that the other day, and I thought about going back and doing that on the other podcast, Talk Junkie, but there's not that much time in a day for me to catch all my mistakes. But to me, 2, take it or leave it. Like, it's not going to be something I watch every Halloween like the first one is. But Beagle's favorite, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, that's a different story. And I know Beagle's love for this, and if my buddy Brad is listening, I know Brad actually does love this. In all honesty, Brad and Mug will argue over this for probably the rest of their natural lives. We're in a group chat. 2 guys. One used to host Raven Television Addicts, which was a really fun show before we quit doing it back a couple of years ago. I would get on there and do it with him. Sometimes he would have me on, and the other one had a podcast as well. And I mean, I've known them since grade school, and ever since we've been in a group chat on Facebook, I mean, probably since day one, the argument every year comes up, probably numerous times a year. Brad loves Season of the Witch. Mug thinks it's a complete and total waste of film. I fall a little bit in between. I think it's fun. I think it's different. I get the ideal, what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it more of an anthology of different stories. I don't think he succeeded at that, but it falls into that so bad. It's not great, but so bad it's watchable for me. It's not going to be something I watch every year, but it's something fun to kind of put on every once in a while. Tell me why you love it so much, people.
It falls in the category for me that was so bad that it was bad.
There's a couple of those.
Which I've told the story a couple times on our podcast, but it all stemmed from me watching it originally one evening on AMC. They were doing a Halloween marathon, and I remember Halloween 3 was coming on. I was like, I've never seen this. I can't wait. I just come off watching 2 and sat down. I was like, okay, all right. And I kept watching it. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, Michael Myers, yeah, all right, I can see maybe where he's going to show up here. Maybe this is a weird thing where they've captured him and these CEOs are using him as like this hidden monster, and then started doing some stuff with propaganda and got a little bit more confused, and then the credits started rolling and my jaw dropped. I sat there like this. Where's he at? I remember like saying to myself in my room, that's the worst movie. That's the worst Halloween movie that's ever been made.
I felt like they underestimated the power of Michael Myers when they were like, we know that you love this.
Yeah. I feel like they tried
gone
to
a different
go
direction.
Get
used to it.
Why call it Halloween 3? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not involve the main character from the Halloween series.
I always tried to rationalize it. Like the first time I watched it, I was trying to say, I bet they're going to tie it in that maybe the clown mask he wore,
and that's how they get
younger, like did something to him.
That's how they get you. You're trying to make excuses for the movie. It's terrible. It's terrible. You're trying yourself to be like, oh, wait a minute. It's going to tie in,
a witch, and a skull mask. I was like, maybe the clown's the fourth one that they got caught about because, Michael Myers wore it and killed his sister. But
no, he never came. Michael never came. I was there. Michael never came. I waited. He never came. He never showed up.
RSVP, he didn't do it.
In the era of maybe the internet, like, if it had happened today and all you'd have is 1 and 2, and they come out with 3, and maybe they could have got the word out, hey, this is what we're doing. This episode is going, or this film's going to be about a different story besides Michael, and so's the next and the next. That could have took off, and everything would have been the Halloween themed movie. But you didn't have the internet. You had nothing but a little bit of word of mouth, and you went from basically what was an independent movie that became a success to a follow-up that was, fairly successful, but not really raved about. And then all of a sudden you just go, I got this great idea. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. I'm just going to do it, but it's going to be really confusing. And, imagine how many people had the same reaction you had, but they had it in the theater.
Yeah.
Like
they've already paid. They can't do anything about it.
Be pretty pissed. Which
at least I watched it on TV on AMC, but like I just don't. I can understand if they would have just separated it from the series completely, and it was John Carpenter's Masks.
Yeah.
This Halloween.
The story was weak. The ending was weak. Like, a lot of it to me was weak. Like, even if they called it something different, I don't think it was ever destined to be one of those movies that was just really successful.
Yeah, no matter what you do, it's not going to be successful. But at least you can remove that stain from the series of Michael Myers. The whole. I mean, I
think Halloween 3 is the first of the Halloweens that it feels like if you had called it something else and done something else with it, it would have been better received. I feel just like
it's Spaceballs
Rob
2.
Zombies.
The quest for more money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that is.
And I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. I think if you had taken Michael Myers out of those and put some other killer in there, it could be any killer you want. It doesn't matter. It would have been a better story than tying it to Michael Myers.
Gary Wayridge.
Yes, Gary Wayridge. If you're out there, buddy, keep writing in.
Yeah.
But like Season of the Witch, if you'd called it Season of the Witch, slap Donovan's song on there, boom. That's a movie by itself. You wouldn't have had people freaking out because they couldn't figure out where Michael Myers was. It might have, it might have done better. You might have had, Season of the Witch 2 or, whatever. But it just seems like there's all these really good horror movie ideals, and they can't figure out how to make it on, a movie on their own. So they slap a Halloween title on it, or they put Michael Myers in it. And they're like, well, this will sell because people love that name or people love that character.
Yeah.
And
people watch it,
Just, yeah. And
I'm just saying, people watched it under the assumption that Michael Myers was going to be in it. That's it's entrapment.
Well, I don't know if they. I really think, like, just hearing interviews and hearing him talk about it and kind of the ideal that the movie company had and the ideal that Carpenter had. I really think this was just a little bit of a blunder on his part. I really think he thought, okay, people they associate the word Halloween with the holiday Halloween. So if I just do movies that are Halloween eccentric, I can get away with putting them in this series. I don't think he realized how impactful like that first movie was. If it's on film and it has the word Halloween in it, it's now Michael Myers. And I think that was just a rude awakening for him. Like, okay, let's not try that again.
Yeah. Was the intro to that movie also 3? Did it involve the pumpkins, like doing the pumpkin roll in and it decaying?
I don't know.
I remember it having a similar intro. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
I mean, it would make sense to some degree. Like, again, that's something. Obviously, the music is very specific to that movie. Like, you're not going to hear that music and think something else. But with the pumpkin deal, I could see him thinking maybe I get away with this.
Yeah.
Maybe I can. I don't know. And I mean, it did create quite possibly the greatest waste in DVD ever, because Universal did release the double feature, Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. And yes,
they have to stick it with it. They have to stick it with it to sell it.
I just bought that for Gertie just a few days ago. When Gertie,
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't buy it for Halloween 2. I bought it for Season of the Witch. It's something that I don't mind to go back to every once in a while and go, again.
I think that's my third copy of Halloween 2. I bought it just for Halloween 3. Yeah,
I have Halloween 2 on VHS. The VHS of the horror movies are a little harder to find from time to time, but obviously, excuse me. Obviously, the DVDs are everywhere.
Bless you.
So, Season of the Witch didn't work out. Despite the love that Beagle has for it,
I mean, I'm gonna say a final thing about it. You go to eat. Everyone likes Dairy Queen because of ice cream and chicken baskets. I go to Dairy Queen to eat those things. If I go to Dairy Queen and they're like, oh, wait a minute, guess what? We don't have any of those things anymore. Thanks for showing up, Bo. It's still Dairy Queen. Do you want some I don't know, some asparagus? Steamed asparagus?
See, now
that's what Halloween 3 is to me.
Pretzels. We're selling a lot of pretzels. We also have hash browns.
Now I understand. That actually that opened it up for me, because I was in Wisconsin last December, and their Dairy Queen #1 is seasonal. One of them is. I go to the other one. My son's with me. He only eats Dairy Queen fries. I'm going to be there for 2.5 weeks. I mean, that literally is one of 3 foods he eats. He doesn't eat any other restaurant fries. I'm like, okay. I look it up. They've got 2 Dairy Queens. Actually get there. One is seasonal. And I'm already going to have to tell him that my dad is mailing me the French fries from Hyman because if he knows they're from a different Dairy Queen, one, if he can smell it and the oil's really different, he won't eat it. But two, if he just
Dirty
knows,
and I feel your pain.
if he just knows, he won't eat it. So I swing by the second one. I go through. I was like, "Give me 2 large orders of fries." I was like, "We don't have fries." I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Can we get you anything else?" And I was like, "What do you put in your chicken strip baskets with your chicken?" We don't have chicken strip baskets. I was like, "Well, what do you serve with your burgers?" We don't have burgers. We got hot dogs and we got milkshakes and we got some cold sandwiches, and that's Dairy Queen there. And my mind was blown. I was like, this is the Halloween 3 of Dairy Queen.
Yeah, of Dairy Queen. It's sad. It's a sad Dairy Queen.
Dairy
it
Queen.
is a very sad Dairy Queen.
It needs to be forgotten.
That's a T-shirt.
And
that's a lone dairy bar with a little marquee.
If you go
sad Dairy Queen
anywhere outside of basically where we live, Dairy Queen doesn't serve breakfast. I ate Dairy Queen breakfast this morning, because I was home and that's what we go get. I was in PA and went to get biscuits and gravy. One, they're not open for breakfast, and two, they don't serve breakfast. Like that blew my mind. And I want to thank everybody for listening to the Dairy Queen podcast. There's my third podcast right there.
It's important. This is important.
If you are a member of Dairy Queen's management, you can reach Justin Perkins at Retro Cult or Talk Junkie for any kind, and we'll talk good about you if you pay us money. We don't care.
They're not doing anything to. They love me. They have to love me. I'm probably put some of their kids through college. It's as soon as he gets off school, there's an order of fries, and then usually one more. If school's in, one more some point before 7-8 o'clock, and in the summer it's one for breakfast because they'll make them for breakfast for him, and then one around dinner time. That's the only meals that basically aren't IGA brand popcorn every day is those French fries. So for what I've gotten Dairy Queen fries, I should have stock options. I really should. I should at least be able to make some choices.
As a woman who spends $300 a month on Pizza Hut pizza, because that's all our son will eat.
Well, I'm not a picky eater, and I probably spend $300 on pizza.
Yeah.
I've got a pizza.
Pizza Hut, just pizza.
Spaghetti noodles.
And with butter, yeah.
My son's never had a piece of pizza in his life. Never had a bite of a piece of pizza. Well, when he was little, he ate a cheese stick once he threw it up. But other than that,
there you go. My nephew, which he gags when you try to give him ice cream.
Oh yeah,
Dairy Queen ice cream. He gagged. He gagged and was like. Also, I remember when he was younger, I was like, okay, that's a fine. You don't have to eat the cone. And I started to eat it, and he started to gag when I even ate it. It was so disgusting to him. He was like, I can't believe you're eating it.
It's the texture.
That I had to throw it away. He couldn't even watch me eat it to get rid of it.
And for people that are listening, we have done therapy.
Yeah, my son's in it right now. We've been in it for years.
Also.
It's a time thing.
We stopped after a couple of years. So.
However, and we don't want to hijack your podcast with picky eater talk, but he just started eating bacon the other day, and I couldn't be more proud.
Oh, dude! There's things that I think,
especially now that the prices of bacon have skyrocketed.
Yeah, right around gold. Thank you. It's
on the gold standard.
Thank you, Ginger Ninja. Yeah. Yeah, we're not on the gold standard anymore. We're on the bacon standard, and
it's what is it? The Duke brothers from
Mortimer and what's the other one? Randolph Mortimer.
Randolph, yeah.
Also, the two bums at the end of
the pork futures are up, Mortimer. Orange juice is down.
Understood none of that movie. Like I had no idea how they made any money. That makes. I don't know. It's a different language to me.
It's funny. God, I miss that movie. That's a good movie. Unlike Halloween 3. Let's get back to it. Let's move on.
So, Halloween 3 didn't work. No Michael Myers. But despite being in a coma, Halloween 4 comes and Michael's back. And I'm going to be honest with you.
This is the Jedi versions. Return and Revenge.
Yes.
Right here.
So 4 is the return of Michael Myers. And I had to look at that to make sure that's what 4 was.
Yeah.
When I asked you guys to do this, I've tried to go through and I tried to watch as many of them as I could. And the ones I didn't get time to watch, I tried to at least go through and kind of hit the highlights of, either get the DVD and go through special features and this and that. I don't have Return on DVD. I would imagine there's not a huge outcry for it. Not that I wouldn't buy it. If I seen it, I would. But I didn't remember much in this movie other than him being in a coma. And I thought I remembered like there was somehow his sister was tied in. But then when I went back and kind of scanned through and watched a little bit, was it his niece or cousin? His cousin was the link that brought him back. Remember the people driving mentioned while he's in a coma and they're switching him from hospital to hospital. They mentioned that his cousin's alive or something like that, and he comes up and kills them. And
it's his niece, right?
I don't know. I can't remember niece, cousin.
I think it's Lori. I think it's Lori's daughter.
Yeah.
She's in. Oh man, it's been a while. She's in like a foster home situation because Lori is dead. I think something happened to Lori. I think she may have killed herself. I don't know, but anyway, her name is Jamie.
You could take a look at my renamed placard.
Jamie Strode's babysitter.
It's a hard job.
So okay, now this one is where everything starts getting all weird, and it's weird to say because but
now you draw a line in the sand. This is weird.
We're leading up. Now this is it. We're leading up. Number 4 and number 5 lead up to my favorite Halloween. Okay. All I know is that this is where Paul Rudd. Now, I don't know if this is the movie that Paul Rudd shows up, but I know that in these 3 movies they all kind of mishmash together. But this is where Paul Rudd enters my life. Donald Pleasance leaves the franchise. A little girl becomes the new Mike Myers, and that's never followed up on. And a guy in black shows up and blows up a police station. So, yeah, here is where it all goes downhill, and thus makes it much, much better than anything that came before it in my eyes. Okay, so I just want to get that out there.
Yeah. Is this the one where Jamie, I guess Strode, is in the coffin in the attic, and he comes up, and then he cries. She gets him to cry, and he touches her face, but then he's mad that he's feeling. He pulls the mask down, he starts going crazy and throwing everything around. And she's in a clown outfit. She's in the outfit that he wore when he was little.
Wow. I mean, this.
That's what I think of when I think of 4.
When you describe it, and I've noticed that from listening to you on your guys' podcast, Beagle can describe something or convince me that Clubber Lang should win a fight he shouldn't, usually fairly quickly. But when he describes something, I'm like, that sounds better than I remembered. What little bit of it I watched, and I had seen this one before, unlike Revenge of the Sith, whatever comes next. I had seen this one before, but I had to kind of skip through and do all this. I may need to go back and watch the whole thing again because you just got me interested in it, because it may be bad enough to be good. I don't know.
Maybe.
If I remember correctly, this is the one, and I'm trying, like I said, they all run together. I think this is the one where at the end of the movie, Donald Pleasance tries to shoot the little girl, who I think is Jamie, because Jamie is trying to kill somebody in a bathtub. Does that ring a bell, Gertie, Beagle, Justin, anybody? And then he starts screaming, "No!" and the sheriff stops.
Don't we have a couple movies with Danielle Harris as Jamie Strode?
Yeah.
Two in there.
I think she
There's a
stays. I
couple.
think she's in. Yeah, I think that's what I said. Like
I know.
she's
I think
trying
she's
to kill
afraid. It's
somebody
kind
in
of
part
like
4.
it's like the Terminator and Terminator 2 situation. The first one, she's afraid of him, gets chased by him. Second one, she's like, maybe he's got some points.
I may have seen. Which one isn't it? Revenge would be next. We're on 4. Revenge would be 5 because he was he in a coma in both?
And no, is 5 the one where
There's
he
a lot
falls
of
down
head
the mine shaft and they throw dynamite in after him?
I think 5
Why
is
do I
the
not
one where
remember?
she's in the psych ward.
She is.
Yes.
That is right. Yes, because she tried to kill. Yeah,
It is
she
the
tried to
Terminator
kill
2
somebody in the 4th one.
of this.
She's in and this one's the one where she dresses up in the clown costume.
Yeah, 5 is
if I
5 is the
remember correctly.
one that. Yeah, okay. I have seen them both now, but 5 is the one I went back apparently, and 4 is not what I went back and watched. But I do believe he starts out in a coma at the beginning of both of those movies.
I swear,
as
Justin,
I'm looking
I
at
think,
pictures of it, also his mask is terrible in this one. Like it's
Is this
bad.
when he has like the red kind of
I
hair?
need to see this.
Yeah,
I hate
yeah,
that
it's
one.
bad.
okay,
It's like this.
okay.
Does it look?
This is okay. Listen, okay, I had to go look this up because this is what I thought. All right.
Thank
So
God.
this is
Thank
how Wikipedia describes. This is the first paragraph of the plot. Okay. On October 31st, 1988, Michael Myers is shot and falls down a salt mine shaft. Sheriff Ben Meeker, the lynch mob of Haddonfield's truckers, and state police toss dynamite to finish him off. Yes, this is it. Escaping into a nearby creek before the dynamite explodes, Michael stumbles upon an elderly hermit who nurses him back to health, and then he falls into a coma.
That's part 5.
Yes,
Well, I
that's
guess if I
part
use
5.
this hand, that's part 5. If I use
So
this
we
hand,
were-
that's part 4 1/4.
hematoma. Yeah, the epidural hematoma.
We were absolutely correct in
Lucid.
that he
Not lucid.
he falls. Yes, yes. And then 1 year later, Michael awakens from his coma, stabs the hermit to death, and returns to Haddonfield to find his niece, Jamie Lloyd, again, who is also in a children's clinic
Well, he
after she
lived.
tried to kill a bunch of people.
He lived with a hermit for an entire year.
Yes.
And didn't
That
kill him.
hermit was trying to like tube feed him, change his diapers, make sure he's turned. It's this is an insane thought.
I don't necessarily
I'm
think the hermit was trained in the nursing arts, but it's possible.
Where did he
Plot
find
twist.
this hermit?
Plot twist: she worked in the hospital and two PTSD had to leave Haddonfield.
Yeah.
How many
just
hermits
couldn't
were
be
there
there.
in 1988 Haddonfield?
Walked off into the woods. This happened.
I mean, how many times you find a hermit that'll wipe your butt?
Right.
This is a special niche hermit.
Well, it looks like he did actually eventually kill him. I didn't remember him killing him. I think like let him go.
He, not her. I didn't know if it was a male or female hermit. Sorry.
Now you've got me interested. I've got to go back and watch 4 and 5 because 4 and 5 have blurred together and become one movie. And I really believe that the clips I went back and watched were probably from each movie.
Well, we're moving towards the greatest one, and that is the Curse coming up. You got the Curse, and it's amazing. This is where it's getting good.
Staggering 9% for the Curse on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's why it's awesome.
I agree completely. I don't really pay much attention to Rotten Tomatoes, but that kind of got me. Now the Curse, I never was really interested in that movie like a whole lot. Like it was a little different and fun and stuff, but I don't know if it was the director of the new series or somebody had just insinuated it or he actually came right out and said it, but they're saying that they're kind of going to lean towards parts of the Curse to kind of explain some stuff coming up in this, I guess, the third and final installment of the new series. So I actually do have it intentions of it, of going back and watching all the way through it, because it's another one that it kind of blurred together on me. I do like that. I don't know. By the time you get to 6, you're under the impression he can't die. Like this, and I was under the impression, and 6, in my opinion, kind of backed that up, that there's definitely something very supernatural going on with him. Something I didn't feel in that first one. And to me, by the time you get to 6, it feels like a different franchise. It, I don't know. It if you took and put a different mask and give him a different name and didn't fall back on the folklore, it would still work for what it was, but I probably wouldn't have been interested enough to watch it. But then when you add in that whole factor and you go back and look, like, it's kind of like 3 for me. I'm gonna watch it because it's got Paul Rudd and it's not really good, but it's just bad enough to be entertaining.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you there are 2 versions of this movie. There's the original version that was released in theaters, and there's a director's cut. Mm-hmm. And the director's cut is so much better. So much. It gets into so much more backstory. I mean, it's better because it's worse, but it's still better. And just the fact that this one is the one where the Man in Black shows up. You find out there's a cult that worships something called the Thorn, and Michael Myers, it's not his fault that he's killing people. It was programmed into him, and he has to kill his bloodline, which makes no sense because, whatever. And then at the end of it, Dr. Loomis is supposed to be the new Man in Black, but Donald Pleasance died, and all of our hopes of a Paul Rudd led Halloween franchise, yes, died with him. It was just sad.
He was in 5, wasn't he? Loomis was still in 5.
Yeah, Loomis was still in 5. He either died after it was over or died during the making of it. I can't remember which one it was.
Paul Rudd's character's name is Tommy. What is it with Tommy's?
It's kind of
protagonist in these in any type of horror movie.
I think it's kind of like the whole 80s deal with, the Todds and the Margos for, the preppier people
so
like
wholesome.
you. Yeah, like they pick these names to fit these certain niches, and the horror niche took Tommy. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
worry about him. That's Jeff.
As hot dogs and milkshakes, according to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Jeff's dying. Jeff's going down.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I learned a trick, and this is completely off subject, but I learned a trick in Wisconsin, and it worked for me in Louisiana as well. I'm going through the drive-thru at this Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, and I pull up to the speaker and I order. And from the massive amount of hate mail that I've got on behalf of this on Talk Junkie, I have a very thick accent and make no effort and intend to make no effort to change it. But they can't understand me. Every morning, this same woman says, "Please drive on up." And I drive up, and she's like, "Honey, I what do you want?" And I'll tell her, and she gets it for the most part when I tell her that. Like, it would be different if I was using words to explain stuff that they didn't understand. Like if I was saying taters or something like that. If I'm asking for a sausage egg biscuit, and or actually, I think it was the little donut house. But it's not like I'm asking for anything weird and out there. But if you're in a restaurant or store or something, and you'll go, "Oh yeah, could I get some donut holes, and just put a little bit of their accent on it, they understand it. I don't change really how I speak. I don't change how I enunciate words. I change nothing about it other than put a little bit of accent on it, and it works, and they can understand you. And it blew my mind because it was getting to the point. My wife was with me. She was really mad when we go through places. And it's like you're talking a different language, other than the 100 people we ran into that used to live in the state we live in and then went up there. Because there's a lot of them. Now, from that tangent that served no purpose, which one were we going to say?
Elliot,
6.
Discuss how Siri can understand you so well.
Theory hates me.
You notice in the chats, if I'm driving, I send you all voice messages. It's because it doesn't. The talk to text doesn't work for me.
Yeah, nothing works for me. And now that I've had dental work, nothing works even more for me. So it's been a real fun couple days.
I mean, aside from, I'd say like me and you, Justin, probably in here have the thickest accents. It might as well banjo start playing when we talk. But like I have
tell them about the feedback.
Like a certain voice, that I like to do whenever I'm doing something. Hello, thank you. I would like to order a number 10 large, Coke Zero to drink, and possibly maybe a vanilla milkshake with that as well. Thank you. You have a wonderful day, ma'am. I've got a hoity-toity voice, I like to call it, when people don't understand me. I switch directly from it, and they think I'm messing with them majority of the time.
It's just trying to be heard.
I just want to be heard. I don't want to constantly, like, please, can I just have a flamethrower? It's back to Dairy Queen. It's full circle. I'm sorry.
Look, sir, we don't have flamethrower sauce here.
Well, this isn't America then, is it?
And they're like, we don't have cheese curds. And then you burn that Dairy Queen to the ground.
Well, it's really, no, they got cheese curds. Everywhere's got cheese curds in Wisconsin, but it's not really America. I love Wisconsin. And if I haven't checked my state map for Talk Junkie in a while, I know Retrocast doesn't have any out there yet, but Wisconsin's basically Canada.
Okay. Yeah, well, I wish I could get some of those donut holes, Couple of them donut holes be okay.
So, not to go off on accents, but I thought it was pretty cool that the original title of this Halloween was supposed to be Halloween 666, the origin of Michael Myers. Did you all know that?
No, I did not.
It was too much. It was too much for the.
It was considered too much, and they had to do it. Also, if you're a fan of the Pink Panther movies, these 3 Halloween movies follow the same titles. You have Return, Revenge, and Curse. So the Pink Panther and Michael Myers, all kinds of cool stuff together. Yeah,
we're starting to believe. I'm starting to believe in the Curse of Thorn.
Legitimately, you need to hunt down the producer's cut if you can find it. It's amazing.
I'm sure that's not what I've seen.
It makes a big difference.
Because did you find that on DVD somewhere?
Where was that we found that, Gertie? Was it at Scarefest that we found it? Somebody was selling it? Or maybe Lexington Toy and Comic Con?
Can't remember.
It has to be on Amazon.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it's officially been released. I think it was kind of leaked. And then tape traders. This might be a deadpit.com question that we need to ask the boys over at Dead Pit. But I don't know. It's pretty good, though.
So definitely need to check out Curse of Michael Myers Snyder Cut. And it's better than the original. Okay.
Yeah, they made it black and white, and they added Jason Momoa, and it should be good.
All right, those are 3 pretty rough movies to make it through, but to me, it's rewarding because of what comes next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Halloween H2O, which pretty neat title. Like it's clever. It's no Season of the Witch. It's obviously no ripoff of the Pink Panther movies, but H2O. It's 20 years after. I'm trying to do the math on that. Was that actually 20 years after? When was that released?
Hold on, I will find out because
I feel like it was.
Yeah, it was released in '98.
Okay.
So
okay.
It was released in '98. So this is also, I think, isn't this the first one that has a rapper who beats up Michael Myers in it. I'm pretty sure that.
Yep.
Has the fastest rapper in the world.
No. This one is LL Cool J.
Oh, yes.
Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes comes later. Yeah. LL Cool J's in this one.
That is right. Remember, he eats the peach while Michael Myers takes off his, overalls. Do you remember that scene?
I don't remember much about this movie. I just remember that. I thought that this was The Faculty for the longest time because it had pretty much the same. It had pretty much the same cast in it.
Oh man.
I was like, I thought this was about aliens. Why is Michael Myers here? And then Jamie Lee Curtis showed up, and I was like, oh, wrong movie. Sorry.
Yeah, wrong movie.
Now she's back to being just the babysitter again by this one. I don't think there's any mention.
She's a principal or a head person of a school, ain't she?
Yeah,
she's
she works at the school, but
main person in charge.
There's no mention of the sister deal in this one. I think this is the part.
No, this is the no. She's still the sister. She faked her death and moved on to something. This is the new timeline. Okay, so this is where it gets complicated. It was originally Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Now, with the release of this one, it goes Halloween 1, 2, H2O.
Okay. I could see why maybe they wanted to forget a couple of those. I mean,
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one.
This one had Josh Hartnett, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep.
Jamie Lee Curtis's mom is in this one for a little bit, and the lady from Dawson's Creek.
Her name is Janet Lee.
Janet Lee. Thank you. And the lady from Dawson's Creek is in this one too. Yes, Michelle Williams. Thank you. Could not remember her name. I just know she was married to Heath Ledger in Brokeback Mountain. So there you
go. That's an odd aside.
I remember things different. I don't know.
I mean, Elliot, that's interesting. She was also his real life partner and gave birth to his only child too.
That's not what I remember about that movie. I just remember the urge to want to start go camping a lot. That's
there you go. And of course, my favorite LL Cool J is also in this too. So.
I thought it was a good movie. I liked it. There was a lot of LL Cool J biting his lip and contemplating things, and I don't expect a whole lot from a slasher movie. I just expect people to die. I expect something to be funny at least once or twice, which you kind of got that in the first one with the sheep deal. I don't expect a really strong story. I do expect Michael Myers to be in the movie that has the title of his name on it, so that was kind of like the biggest of the issue with 3. I guess because H2O was more modern and he hadn't had one in a while, and I had really not paid attention to the 3 previous ones that much. I enjoyed it. Like, it's one that me and my wife have watched, not every Halloween, but pretty often throughout the years, because I would have to say that up till this movie, this was definitely her favorite of the series for whatever reason. I don't know what it is about that one in particular, but that was always kind of her favorite Halloween movie. So we ended up watching it quite a bit. Again, it's one of those movies that nothing really jumps out at me. And I think LL Cool J did do good in the movie. Like, I think his acting was good. Like, you see him on whatever it is, NCIS, pick a state or city right now. I don't know what they're on, but I don't know. It's a decent movie, but again, nothing just jumped out at me.
Yeah, I think there was high hopes for this movie because didn't they get the guy who wrote Scream, Kevin Williamson? He wrote this movie, right?
Yes, him, but there was another dude that wrote it with him. and one of the two didn't put their name on it.
Something
originally.
like that.
And the only reason I know that is when I was doing the research for this, I remember seeing it. I want to say it's like Frank Zappa. It's not. I know it's not Frank Zappa. Been a whole lot different movie if it had been. Maybe even a better movie. But I didn't know that guy wrote Scream. But I do remember the name from the research. But that's more than likely you're right because like I said, I have a horrible memory.
Robert Zappia. Robert Zappia.
Yeah, that's Frank Zappa's cousin. I remember that. I know how to tell him.
Yeah.
Old man Zappia's boy.
Don't look it up.
But now, this movie I think is one of those that they tried to do a new start. They tried to make it really cool at the end. I remember this is the one where doesn't she like cut his head off with something at the end of it?
She beheads him. Yeah.
Yeah.
She cuts his head clean off.
And
Spoiler
I think
alert.
this movie. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I meant spoiler alert. This is when the hatred for the first responders started.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where it should have started.
Don't switch room.
So,
I do want to say
Hannibal
this real
Lecter.
quick about the poster I'm looking at right now for it. I never knew this. Like, this is cracking me up. But in the top, it's got everybody's picture. And it's got him in the background, like, and then it says, "This summer, terror won't be taking a vacation."
Well, I mean,
after. Go ahead.
No, it's hard to like when you're killing people nonstop. You need a break. I mean,
yeah. Why didn't they give him a vacation? He's not going to be taking one. Like, what happened? Did he not get that raise this year? It was promised to him. He's been working hard.
This is the movie too that launched all the whole Josh Hartnett should be the next Indiana Jones. You remember those whole things that went around like Josh Hartnett is going to play Harrison Ford's son in the next Indiana Jones movie, and yeah.
The thing I remember about Josh Hartnett is he was probably in one or two movies I liked, but he was in enough movies I really didn't care for that I can't remember the one or two he was in I probably liked.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not him. It's not like he's a bad actor necessarily. Right. There's times, I don't know. I'm not a professional actor. I don't know who's good, who's bad. Like, I know who I enjoy watching. I don't remember being just disgusted by his performance at any point in time. Just he didn't get a good draw on movies, I guess. Like, he picked bad projects. I don't know. I don't remember any stellar work from him.
I agree. Faculty, yeah. Which I swear this is probably like a weird sequel to.
Elliot, don't you like Black Hawk Down?
Oh, I keep forgetting he's in Black Hawk Down though. Yeah, Black Hawk Down is one of my favorite movies. But
I love Black Hawk Down.
I don't really consider that his movie though. You know what I mean? Like it's such a ensemble cast.
If you had a gun to my head, I couldn't have told you he was in it. I really like that movie. Like, again, I don't think he's bad. I think that sometimes actors get pigeonholed, and you kind of see a couple bad movies and you're like, you forget them in the good roles they were in. Like, sometimes you forget Michael from Halloween 1 and from H2O because you just remember Season of the Witch and his poor performance in it, like Beagle pointed out.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the next one, though, is Resurrection. And it has, but like we've already said, Busta Rhymes, and it has Tyra Banks, which, my goodness, right there. That's all I've ever needed. And it was originally called MichaelMyers.com, which I think is just the greatest title of all time. I mean,
who is naming these movies? I
don't know.
But it makes H2O even seem like a stronger name because that's. But I guess
Halloween 9, Third Impact.
I guess they were running out of R words, so you know it was harder to come across resurrection because what is it? There's revenge, return, resurrection. I mean that's
and,
it's a hard R. They're heavy on.
And
it.
then there's the one where he goes to the sorority house, and I think that's called Halloween Roofie.
See that sounds appealing to me. That's late night B movie quality. They should have made that Season of the Witch.
I'm sorry, Gertie. Did I kill you on that one? I apologize.
Yeah,
no, it's fine.
Where's Michael Myers from? Hazard.
He likes the kids. He likes them young.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not get too political.
It's not pedophilia is not political.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's part of the curriculum. It's not political.
It's just part of the thing, you know.
Hey, when we make
being boys,
news,
you know what I'm saying?
Real.
But what an absolute weird movie this is. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks are having a reality show where kids have to go live in or spend a night in the old Michael Myers place.
Yeah.
And then not only does, Michael Myers go around killing people, but Busta Rhymes fist fights him and wins. Like, where are we at
clear cut
in our world?
He roundhouse kicks him.
Yeah, he does. Like, when did Busta Rhymes learn, ninja moves? Like, what's going on?
He came out with it. He said, "Woo-ha!"
Yeah, I think you see him do it. He's done like what's the Brazilian dance fight style? And I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think he done that in the Woo-ha video, didn't he?
Got Michael all in check. I don't know. It's just this is another one. And two, at the end of this one, I think it's pretty clear. Oh, and for those of you all listening or watching who's like, wait a second, I thought you said he got his head cut off in the last one. Oh, no, that was a misdirect. Jamie Lee Curtis actually dies in this one, which is weird. And you find out that Michael switched put his mask on a firefighter, and Jamie Lee Curtis killed an innocent firefighter. Again,
I discussed this just a minute ago.
I'm just saying, like, what a weird movie. This is just like, and somebody somewhere was going, you know what? How do we fix this? And all of a sudden, Dracula started playing, and they were like, there's only one way, and that way is Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
And the world wept.
When they announced Zombie was doing basically the reboot, the new Halloween, I was extremely excited. I haven't watched what was the first one? House of a Thousand Corpses, first one of his he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. I love Rob Zombie. I love doing White Zombie. Like him so much, I like his little brother Spider. I like the whole family. Good clan. Do
Power
great
Man
music.
5000.
Yeah, seen them at Summer Sanitarium in 2000 and Sparta Speedway. Excellent performance. Seen Zombie one time without all the. I want to see him with the stage show once. I've seen him once without all the stuff with him at Ozfest. I didn't like House of a Thousand Corpses. I think I remember when he came. That's when he had the big robot comes out over the audience on that tour. The one you're talking about, the big arms that come out.
Do you remember that, Gertie? I remember Black Veil Bride.
I think it was around when Super Beasto come out, and they had a lot of cartoon stuff behind them.
Yeah.
And then the Go-Go Dancers and Tommy Cletus was his drummer then.
They should all took pictures at all those shows in the world. But I didn't get to go to that one. I remember seeing pictures from because he was there a couple different times, I believe. But as excited as I was, I didn't like House of a Thousand Corpses. It's just too, like I said, but I'm not a horror gore guy. Like that's not, and that's why I asked you guys to do these shows stuff with me. Somebody had a little more. I'm most of the time more of a Charlie Brown Halloween guy. I'm not a big horror movie guy. Like I said, I'll do the early Krugers and Halloweens and stuff, but I'm such a big zombie fan. I really thought, and I'm excited for this new Monsters movie. I may be disappointed with it, but I was really excited for the new Halloween. I didn't hate it at all. There's definitely aspects of it that I really, really liked. Um, as a whole, probably a little more kind of gory, and what's the one with the teeth, right? Couldn't remember if it was one or two.
No,
His first one.
the teeth is the teeth is the new
Oh,
Halloween.
that's the
That's the
newest one.
one where
Yeah.
yeah, that's the newest one.
Okay, maybe I don't like it as
No,
much as I remember.
this is the one that has okay. First of all, Gertie, back me up on this. Tyler Maine, perfect choice. Perfect choice to play Michael Myers. Um, I loved everything about this movie at first. Bringing back Danielle Harris to play. She plays Lori, right? In this one, Gertie.
Oh, she
No, she
plays the
plays
sheriff's
Lori's
daughter.
friend. She plays the
Plays
sheriff's
the
daughter.
sheriff's daughter.
So
Yeah.
bringing back Danielle Harris to do that, the fact that the sheriff is played by
Brad
the same
Dorff.
guy who plays Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings. Um, I hate Malcolm McDowell. That was my
And
least
Chucky.
favorite part of the movie. Yeah, he's also the voice of Chucky. I hate Malcolm McDowell's character in this. I know he's playing Loomis. I don't like it. Um, Sherry Moon Zombie's agent. Sherry Moon Zombie, I'll give her credit. She must be the best actress of all time because she's in all of Rob Zombie's movie. I can't figure that out. I don't know why.
They now
I
she's
can't,
getting
But
there.
I can't
I
either.
think it's fine, honestly. I mean, if that's what they want
I
to do,
do
that's
too.
fine.
I
I
would
would
do
put
it.
you
It's
in.
whatever,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would do
I have
it,
no problem
and
with
I don't think she's a
Yeah.
horrible actress. Like, especially for
Uh-uh.
the type of role she gets, like she's good in those. Like, I would do it too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
cool that they do that together, but it's not her agent.
I think she was one of the her and Bill Moseley were the best part of the Devil's Rejects. I love those two in that
Um,
movie. And
I mean, oh, go ahead, Big.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying that Sherry Moon Zombie, I liked her a lot that's one of the things I did like about the movie is Michael's mom. You know, I liked I one of the things I did like about it too was the attention to his origin. Like I enjoyed all that,
See, I didn't
but
like that part. I think evil's scarier when it doesn't have a reason.
well, see where I started to kind of lose it was I'm on the opposite end. I don't like Tyler Maine as him because
Oh,
I don't want someone like he's just a Jason clone, just a big giant guy that will do it. I like the more slim, unassuming guy with a mask on. That's more terrifying to me. Not the 7 foot monster, coming through. Of course, yeah.
But for
So
zombies Halloween, he was the perfect choice.
I guess
In
for
the world
his vision,
in the
yeah. I mean,
world that
yeah,
they built, he was the perfect choice for that
yeah.
movie.
I would even go so far to say that if you take the Michael Myers how they do it in the new movies, and you put him in Rob Zombie's kind of the mythos of what that he's built, I'm thinking you come out with a lot better movie, in my opinion. Because I feel like they do, which we're going to get to that, but the newer ones, one thing they absolutely nail, I believe, in my opinion, is just the feel of Michael Myers. I love his look. I love the way he feels. Everything about him. So that is just a huge plus for me. You go back to these, there was a lot of things I liked, but Michael Myers wasn't one of them. Like Tyler Maines, I just didn't. It took me out of it.
The big thing with the zombie movie to me is even and like I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it would work just as well if it wasn't Michael Myers. If it was I think maybe he would have had more success if it was not Halloween. If he told the same story, different character, different title, I think he would have more success because I think a lot of people don't like change and they're not going to like them redoing it. And then there's going to be people that are automatically going to like it because it's him. I think he does a really good job of making me uncomfortable when I watch movies, and that's what he's trying to do. And I don't think they done anything horribly wrong. I just it doesn't it's not my type of movie. As bad as and I know it's goofy to say as bad as I want it to be because it's Rob Zombie and I like Rob Zombie so much. It's just, it's a little too much. As much as I said why I liked one, this goes the opposite way pretty hard for me. And I just don't, I don't
let
get
me
into
tell
it.
you where let me tell you where Rob Zombie lost me. Rob
I know where this
Zombie
is
lost
going.
me with the white horse in
I
part
know it.
2. My goodness. Why did we need a white horse showing up in poor old Michael's? That movie to me is the epitome of. I don't think my wife had enough screen time in part 1. I'm going to put her with this horse, and she's going to be in all kinds of scenes in part 2. That one killed me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to love Halloween 2. It has Weird Al Yankovic in it, and I want to love it, but I
Didn't know
can't
that.
because of this stupid horse. And you know, this kind of I think that Zombie really wanted to take it down the road that parts 4, 5, and 6 were. Especially at the end. He kills Loomis in this one. Great call. Good job. But then Lori ends up, wearing the mask and seeing the horse. Why would she see the horse? I don't understand this movie. Like, is the horse the reason? Is that Edgar Casey's horse? I don't understand what's going on. I just don't get it.
Anybody who sees
This
that
is the one that got me.
It drives them mad.
Obviously, it drove me mad.
Exactly.
I don't know. I expect that horse to show up in the Munsters, and when it does, I'm walking out of the theater. I just can't take it.
It's going to be there.
This will be the quickest movie of the series for me. I have never attempted, nor do I honestly plan to, watching this movie. I thought about it just for the fact of us doing this discussion. I know zero about it. I was let down by the first one. Like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. It definitely wasn't for me, and I didn't need it, so I didn't watch it. And I had no desire to watch this one. I never have, and I still haven't. Like it's
If
just
you're a
not.
big fan of if you're a big fan of horses, I think you need to watch it.
I love horses.
Well, then you'll love this movie. I think it was paid for by the Kentucky Derby. I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but it's legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and it's really where I started to lose respect for Rob Zombie as a filmmaker. His first Halloween wasn't that great, but it was still a good movie. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those you can throw on in the background, watch. It doesn't offend me so much that I can. This movie offends me. This is up there with Jeepers Creepers for me. Like I can't. I don't like this movie.
That horse. I mean, it just.
You could see the
I
zipper
don't
on that
know,
horse.
so.
Beagle and Gertie. I don't know how that horse got a vanity license plate, but it's killed me. And legitimately, Beagle and Gertie will tell you. They will tell you. I have not stopped talking about this stupid horse ever since I watched this movie.
Always the horse.
My
It's
head
always
canon is that Elliot was thrown from a horse when he was younger, and he just can't
It's
stand him.
possible.
There's some kind of
It's
strange aversion that you have to.
It's very possible. I don't know. I can't watch Secretariat now after this movie. I just can't. It's just impossible.
I've never seen that either. With no intention of seeing it.
I don't know. I think it wins and then it becomes glue. I'm not sure.
That's usually the process.
Yeah. I don't know. But now I guess we're out of Zombieland and we're back to the new timeline, which this one goes from the original Halloween in '78 to
A sequel called
Eastbound and
Halloween.
Down's Halloween. Yeah. It goes Halloween, then Halloween. So figure that one out.
Did you just try to take over?
I didn't. I want to get.
Dare
I don't want to talk about that stupid horse anymore.
How
So
dare
let's move on to the next Halloween that does not involve a horse.
He goes on to other people's podcasts, Justin. He just takes over.
Can I take over? Yes.
This is Retro Cult
with Elliot Spooky.
I think you're doing excellent, Elliot. I mean, first of all, we're way outside the retro timeline. Secondly, you guys have put up with me for almost 2 hours, very late at night, made time to do this one, so I'm appreciative anyway. But I wasn't even planning on doing these last movies. I was going to stop at 98, and I've had so much fun with y'all. Just kept going. The last Halloween, like version 2.0, I guess.
You can split this into 2 different shows if you want to. We're not offended.
I'm not too lazy to do that. They get all this crap and not editing stuff. Screw that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that it was podcasters that brought Michael Myers back? It's our people that caused this.
Bring him back.
I was not excited for this new movie when it came out. My wife was excited. It was coming out. It came out on Halloween that year, or at least October. We went to Riverfield 10 or whatever, watched it. I wasn't excited going in, and I've seen it twice since then. We haven't watched it this year yet, but I've seen it twice since then. I don't know if it was just nostalgia or just hadn't seen a good scary movie in a while. Like I said, I don't watch a ton of them. I'm more of a Dr. Sleep version of, I guess, that genre than I am a slasher. But I really liked it. I don't have anything bad to say. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a good add-on from the other. The one cool part I thought was in the Rob Zombie part was in this one. That's the teeth part. A little gory, which I'm not a big gory guy, but that kind of like, that was scary to me. Like I was like, this dude's serious. I have no complaints about the movie myself.
I mean, I'm gonna take the same stance. I liked it. I love the first part with the interviewers, and how they have that scene of them outside and they're kind of chained up outside, and he brings the mask out and everything starts to go wild except for him, and he doesn't react to it at all. But it's like he kind of does. That right there, I just thought that was really, really, really good. I just enjoyed that scene. There's something about that scene that I just enjoy.
It gives him that supernatural feel that he's not supposed to have, apparently.
Yeah. Which,
okay, they can say what they want about this not being supernatural, but the introduction of the guy who was supposed to replace Loomis, and he ends up trying to put on the mask and become the new Michael Myers. You know that part I'm talking about?
Yeah, when he stabs the cop.
Yeah, yep. That has to be setting up the whole new Curse of Thorn thing. And I don't know. I just he kills after he escapes. He's, by the way, he's 63 years old in this one. He escaped. I know he's not supernatural at all.
He had a balanced diet in the asylum.
Yeah. Listen.
He kills a kid right after he breaks out of the
which you
asylum.
took terrible offense to.
Which I took terrible offense to. Yes,
Mm.
I can't stand kids being in danger. Is one of my biggest. Like I can't handle it. But he leaves the baby alone, which intrigued me, and I just wonder if that's a plot point that we'll get something in this next movie, in the final movie. Yeah, final movie. But I just I liked it. It's not my favorite, but it was good. The pumpkin, or when he carved the cop's head into a pumpkin, that part. I'm not a gore fan either, but that was pretty awesome. Um, and then her whole death trap house. Uh, I just want to do that to my house, and I'm not even being stalked by Michael Myers. I just think that's a cool thing to do.
You want a bomb shelter? That's like the
I
back
do.
end.
Who doesn't? Like,
I mean,
build me two.
really?
But yeah, I think this is one of those that I think it's a better entrance than. I like the fact that they make fun of him being. I heard a rumor that Lori was his sister, and she's like, "Well, that was stupid. Don't believe that." That stuff. Like,
Yeah, I'm definitely not his sister.
yeah,
Stuff
definitely
like
not
that.
his sister. So, here's a new timeline. So, like,
Mhm.
where in this modern age, old people fight each other to the death, and only firefighters and mobs get killed. So,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean, I'm just saying, 61. A couple years ago when I was in a lot better shape, I ran an 8K. I got lapped by an 81-year-old. All right, I'm just saying they can pull it off. 60 is the new 40.
I guess Chris Jericho's over 50, so if he can be, if he's still fighting, I
Yeah,
guess it's possible.
Ric Flair.
Yeah,
Ric
he's
Flair could
canceled. We
win
don't talk
another
about him.
title. Oh, I talk about it. They can kiss a crack of my hind end. Flair's never canceled. I don't give a crap what they say. And Flair could be champion. Flair could be champion
Woo!
today. Any
Yep, I
company,
agree.
he could be champion
Well, I
today.
mean, I guess Sting is over 60, so
Yeah.
a lot of S words, and I'm having
Yeah, and
problems.
he's still second best to Flair at that age.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. I mean, look.
And then Gertie
That's what
goes
I'm
to sleep
saying.
when it turns into the wrestling podcast. I know you
No,
guys
Dude,
are
I
probably
watch it.
killing
Dude,
me about to kill
No,
me.
I
Hey,
follow it. I actually watch it.
she's more into it than I am. She bought me WrestleMania tickets and G1 Supercard tickets and everything.
Wow.
So yeah, she's hip to
Yeah,
the wrestling
you got to
lingo.
see Okada win the New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship in Madison
I
Square Garden.
did. It was mighty nice.
Wow, that's next level.
And then Michael Myers showed up and ruined my day because he brought
Ah,
that stupid horse.
And then your love of what's his name that got canceled?
Marty Skrull. Yeah,
Marty Skrull. After I bought you that cameo,
yeah, I know.
got canceled.
I refuse to let people get canceled. The more they want to cancel somebody, the more I support them. I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan.
Hey, no,
I'm with Dave all the way.
the second date that Gertie and I went on was to watch Dave Chappelle do stand up at Rep Arena.
Should I have
So-
married you?
When he came back from Africa.
Yeah,
Wow.
when he came back from Africa. Yeah.
That was a long time ago. We're old.
No wonder you fell in love with Elliot. I want to marry him now at this point. I mean, come on.
Our third
Big
date
ol-
was
big
The
ol'
Devil's
East.
Rejects, which brings us back to Rob Zombie. Yay.
Ugh.
Which we watched
Okay, I
twice
might
in
not
the
have
theater
stuck
because we
around.
bought tickets
Halloween
to
3.
Skeleton
Morrison.
Key or something. And we started
Yeah.
the movie. We went, we really don't like this, and we got up and went back to Devil's Rejects again and watched it.
Yeah.
So
I love movie jumping. Like if you're in a movie and you're like, nope. I wonder what else is playing in here, and then you're like walking down through there, and you just walk right in.
I've only done it like
See it.
twice. Skeleton
No,
Key
like
and Be
twice.
Cool.
Play
That
it
movie
to the
was
bone.
terrible.
I walked out of the theater on the movie Play It to the Bone. I
The
know
only
it's a
time-
boxing movie. It's horrible.
The only time I ever have like walked out of it, never finished the movie, was Be Cool. I was with Gertie. Yeah. I was like, nope, I'd rather watch anything.
I've never
Like a
heard
group of like 5 of us got up and went, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a
I
bad
asked other
movie.
people in there as I got up. I was like, "What do you see in this?" And I just walked off. You
It
know.
was real bad. It was real bad.
Controversial. The only movie I've ever walked out on was Anchorman, and that was because I had a migraine. I could feel it coming on, and I was like,
You still
I
have a
couldn't get.
negative connection to it in your head.
I know every time we start
Yeah.
to watch it or something, I'll be like, I don't know, my head's feeling awful bad. Here comes that horse again. I don't know.
Here comes the horse.
Pretty sure.
Well, you know what didn't have horses? The new Halloween.
Well, if the original and Halloween, the whatever that was, it 18 last what we talked about. To me, Halloween's here. It's just Halloween as well. If Halloween, the original, is my number one, then the first in this new trilogy entitled Halloween is probably my number two in that series of movies. And then you get to the one they just released, Weird Science Guy in it. It again, I said this about H2O, I believe it was, and I said this about Resurrection. I don't need a lot from a movie. I think the movie before this did have a good story. It did have a lot of things I look for in a movie. Like I really did enjoy it a lot. I think story wise and maybe character development stuff, it did better than the original Halloween. It just didn't have some of the stuff that like being the first. But this new movie didn't have a great story. There was a lot of craziness in it. Evil must die tonight. I lost count on how many times that got said.
Evil must die.
I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a Halloween movie released on Halloween. My wife wanted to go. We got to watch it together. We had fun. I liked it for that. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it is what it is.
I'm going to go ahead and say what I originally said. I feel like those movies do great with Michael Myers himself, the character. That movie, I like it. Don't get me wrong, I do. But everything else kind of fell short. There was a lot of stuff that was just kind of like really, I'm not really for sure how spoiler free we would like to keep this because it's a relatively new movie.
Yeah, it's still out, so let's not give away too much. But
yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that they pretty much completely destroy your whole like belief if he isn't supernatural.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. And then the director comes right back out and says, "No, he's clearly not supernatural."
And he's 100% supernatural.
If he was not supernatural, Big John, Little John would have took him out.
Hands down. Yeah. Stop it.
What's what I can do?
Stop. Little John.
I don't want.
No. Michael, stop. A little Mad TV reference. But I mean, another thing like
there's no horse, so
there's no horse.
Thumbs up.
I know there's a lot of controversy, which that happened really quickly in the movie, so this is not a huge spoiler, but about the first responders, and them all coming at him like one at a time.
Well, who shows up to fires?
Yeah, I know.
Firefighters.
There's also a thing too where it's basically said that he's not after Laurie. That's not a thing in this. Apparently, he is.
What was he trying to do? Serve her some papers?
All he's doing is he just wants to go home.
He just wants to see that reflection.
Anybody in his path going home is eliminated.
Well, then why did he?
But then why did he in the first?
Well,
exactly.
What kind of path
in the woods?
What kind of path is he taking to lead him to the death house in the woods to get back to his home that he passed up to get to the death house?
I mean, I didn't write it.
He didn't get a lot of education in the psych ward, so he's really bad at reading maps.
But he can still drive.
Well, that's a whole other skill. Okay.
But,
I could drive a car, but I get lost trying to drive in Prestonsburg.
That's true. She does.
And Hazard makes me very confused.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a building with a goose head, so I get it.
Glowing eyes.
But, yes. Which is scarier than a 63-year-old Michael Myers. But,
maybe.
The thing that gets me, too, and don't get me wrong, is, well, no, I can't say anything because it will spoil a part of the movie. But if you're going to bring back a pretty major actor for a pretty big role, why would you just have him in the movie and then kill him? I hope that's vague enough.
I heard about that. I've not watched the movie, but I heard about that. Jamie Lee Curtis talked about it on a podcast I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and I don't want to spoil that.
He's like 80-some years old. God bless him. Like, why?
Yeah. So another thing too, it felt a lot like the whole movie was a commercial for Halloween Ends.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like no. Let's not hold that back. Let's not do that because we've got another one. It's a Hobbit scenario. That those movies didn't need to be that long or 3 movies. What are you talking about? It should have ended with Desolation of Smog. That's it.
Yeah,
that's pushing it. But this right here, it's like, oh no, let's stretch this out to the point where it's like now it's Halloween Ends. You'll really want to see how it ends.
It all happened
on this,
in the course,
36-hour Halloween day.
Yeah, that's what in 2 movies. The first 2 movies all happened in the course of one night, and I assume they were shot just back to back because this should have been released last year. The pandemic pushed it, and I think you're right. Like it was kind of like they done this really good movie, and then they took all the extra footage and a little bit lesser story and made a really good advertisement for Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That being said, though, like I said, I feel like the Michael Myers aspect of it was spot on. I know it's probably out of all of them the most gory. There was some kills that I thought were pretty ridiculous. Like I was like, wow. And then there was one that I kind of laughed out loud at. Like I was just like, that's hilarious, even though it was a death. I'm twisted. Another thing too. Actually, there was 2 of them. They were like back to back that I laughed at. I was just laughing hysterically at. And everybody should be able to figure that one out. There's also a really good suspense part. I mean, his mask, the way it looks, his overall feel, I think is done really, really well. Like they get him really well. It's just trying to figure out everything else. Seems like it's causing a lot of problems.
He's the most fleshed out part.
Yeah.
Really. So.
I feel like what they're missing is a Loomis stand-in. Like Loomis was always
seems as immortal as him to kind of.
Yeah, like the yin to his yang. Like Loomis was always there to explain what was going on in Myers' head. You know what I mean? Like, how he knew that because Michael Myers hadn't spoke in 20-some years, but Loomis knew what was in his head. You know what I'm saying?
Loomis was just there screaming at him, just having things.
Yes, but it let the viewer in on why he was doing what he was doing in those first couple of movies. Now it's just violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah, it was. He's been with him for. If we're going to go off of the first movie, he was with him for 15 years, wasn't he? Even if he's never spoke. He probably can come to his own conclusions of what he's like.
He spent so long trying to pick him apart, and then when you realize what he was, he spent that much longer trying to keep him.
What was it, 8 years? He spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then he spent another 7 making sure he would never see the light of day because he realized he was pure evil. And he never spoke.
You should have took that approach for Season of the Witch.
Yes, yes, they should. And the horse.
Guys,
The horse should be in Season of the Witch. They should put the horse in there.
let's remake that movie.
There's
The
horse
horse
masks.
is going to be in next year's Ultimate Halloween Movie Maniac Marathon.
Ooh.
Yeah, tournament. The horse will win it all.
With Sherry Moon?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right
You have to have her there. This because next year's tournament is directed by Rob Zombie, so Sherry Moon Zombie has to be in it. Yeah. Oh, spoiler! I didn't mean to. I should have mentioned that earlier. Yeah. But I don't know, guys. Halloween movies are great. They're fun, just dumb things to watch. But the classic to me, the all-time number one, is the original. Just like every other franchise, it all goes back to the start. Carpenter, that good old Kentucky boy, making a good old,
Yep,
slasher, low budget thriller, and
using the William Shatner mask.
Yeah, he got it right the first time, and I think we've just been chasing that glory ever since.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys doing this for me. You had to give in it really late at night so that I could do it, and I've kept you for like 2 hours and something. I really appreciate it. I have so much fun with you guys on. Beagle, it was awesome to finally get you on here. Hopefully, you guys can come to a Talk Junkie with me pretty soon because those don't take as long. And I really appreciate you guys being here. If you're listening to this on the podcast and not on YouTube, if you're listening on iTunes or something, this is not the end of the episode. I know this has been really long, but after this, I'm going to have a separate part. I'm going to play some of the listeners send in some audio recordings talking about their favorite movie in the series. So I'm going to play that afterwards, and I'll do all the finish up stuff so you guys don't have to be tortured through it. Thank you guys very, very much for doing this.
Before we go, though, I have to mention something. So you on Talk Junkie, you always read email, and I told you one time, I said, man, you shouldn't read all that bad email. It gets me depressed and all that stuff. Well, we did the tournament, and we let fans vote, and one of the comments that we got, and it is just beautiful in its simplicity, was, "I hate your voices." That was the only comment. So we kind of understand that comment itself has fueled us for another whole 6 months. We're going to do this, and we're going to make the worst voices you've ever heard on Spooky Family Podcast.
I like the negatives. I mean, I'm not just saying, like, it's funny when they're funny for people to listen to them, but anything I've ever done in life, I've never had anybody just berate me the way some of these emails do, unless I'm doing something they wish that they were doing, or I'm doing something and pushing a little bit harder than them, or I'm doing something and doing it just a little bit better than I thought I was doing. You don't generally get a lot of criticism you can get criticism when you're doing something bad. I get it all the time. And I do get emails that are sincere and really not that mean. And they're accurate. Like, their criticisms are accurate. Your sound's bad. You get road noise, blah, 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 blah. But when it's just that mean and that hateful, there's something there on their part. They have an issue. And plus, I think it's kind of funny to read them. And if you do listen to Talk Junkie as well, if you listen to the last episode I did, it was a road episode where I'm recording, and there's a lot of like rubbing the mics and on purpose. I just made as much noise as I possibly could because for really 3 reasons. One, I mean, I had this big surge a while back and has been here lately, and it's all those old episodes that were done that way. Maybe I was just doing better episodes back then. 2, like, I get a lot of hate mail going, man, your audio sucks. And I kind of like to stab back at those people. And 3, I really prefer doing Talk Junkie on the road by myself on this track. That's why I started this, because if I did this episode on Talk Junkie, the amount of hate mail and complaining would be to a point that, like, it would be 15 or 20 It's just more than I can handle of it all being bad. So I don't know. I encourage it. If you don't like this show, send me something. Because I got messages over our last episode. We were all wrong about a lot of stuff. I can tell you, and the same thing's going to be true for this. We're all going to be wrong about it. Like I didn't get. I've only had one email in the history of this show, which I'm just like on episode 4. And it wasn't pertaining to any of the episodes. I think it's an idea for an episode. But Messenger and people, some of them people I know, like I got a lot of criticism for the last episode, but it is what it is. I don't know. I have fun. I love having you guys on. And like I said, this will air on Halloween night, so you guys will be everywhere on Halloween night. You're on here to Bubblegum that night. You're on doing your guys' special event that night. You're with me, NBC, ABC, CBS, all the major stations. You guys are everywhere that night.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you guys go because I know you're tired, and it's like, thank you all so much.
So happy Halloween, everybody. Stay spooky.
Happy Halloween.
We love you guys.
Ooh.
Bye.